If you can't rack your pistol when your hands are sweaty or shaking, you don't have a defensive tool. You have an expensive paperweight. Hi, I'm Dave with Everyday Gun Owner. I'm a husband, a brother, and a son. I've spent 30 years in the firearms world and 12 years in the Army Reserve teaching other soldiers how to shoot. But honestly, none of that matters if I cannot protect my family. I don't want to wake up in a prison cell because I made a bad choice, and I definitely don't want to fail my family because my gear didn't work. Here's the hard truth. Smith & Wesson designed the Bodyguard 2.0 for people who want a highly concealable, lightweight, user-friendly personal defense gun. Now, if you've been looking for an honest Bodyguard 380 review, you know the marketing doesn't always match the reality. That's the case today. The question we're talking about isn't whether this works on the showroom or gun store floor. The question is whether you can operate the Bodyguard when your hands are weak, arthritic, or slick with sweat or adrenaline. Today, we're going to look at the Bodyguard and test it. Can we rack it, load it, unload it, clear malfunctions with both wet and dry hands? I have my dad here to help us with this. He's a 30-year veteran of the fire service. He's been shooting since, I believe, the late 50s, early 60s?
Yeah.
And has had several hand surgeries, and he's got arthritis. Now, do you carry the Bodyguard regularly?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know you just got a CSX. Do you have problems, any problems with the Bodyguard?
I have trouble racking it. That's the main thing.
Okay, that's exactly why we're here. So the Bodyguard uses a locked breech operating system, and according to American Rifleman, it allows Smith & Wesson to lower the amount of force required to get the gun into battery and makes the pistol easy to rack for those with weaker hand strength. I have a link in the description. Looks good in the article, but we have both used this, and we're absolutely calling BS on that one. And here's why. Multiple real-world people say they bought aftermarket slide grips because they couldn't rack the factory slide. A 79-year-old said he knew from day one he needed help. Foreign users have complained that the slide is so tight they don't have the strength to pull it back. And they point out the irony that the Smith & Wesson Shields EZ line actually delivers on that promise. But the newer Bodyguard 380 doesn't live up to that. We have experienced this firsthand. He found that the 16-pound recoil spring way too swift. This is swapped for a 14-pound spring, and if we can find it, I'll put that in the description for you. But honestly, do you still struggle with the 14-pound spring?
Not as much as I had before.
Okay, but there is a little bit.
There is a little bit.
If there's not, be honest. Don't. So we're going to get nerdy with some of the hard data. Here's what matters in real defensive use. The FBI reports 70% of violent encounters typically happen within arm's reach, a couple of yards. So you're not standing on a range with dry hands and perfect posture. You're fighting in bad light with adrenaline flooding your system. Your fine motor skills are starting to collapse, your hands shake, and they might be wet from sweat, rain, blood, or a combination. Medical College of Wisconsin published research showing that grip strength in men drops 20 to 25% after age 55. Now, when you add arthritis or hand surgeries, that number gets worse. The American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons reports more than half of adults over 65 have some form of hand arthritis, and I'm starting to get it in my right hand. So we're going to run a simple test. Dry hands first, then wet. We're going to go through the full manual of arms, loading, unloading, locking the slide open, dropping the magazine, because carrying a gun isn't just about pulling the trigger. It's about operating the system under stress when your body fights you. So we're going to start that right now. Make sure it is unloaded. Pull the magazine out, unloaded. It is unloaded. So I am right-handed. I can't even do it with 3 fingers. 3 fingers and a thumb. Nope. It is still really tight. But I find the magazine spring is not bad. The slide release, the slide stop is not bad. But yeah, it's still pretty tight. Magazine release is fine, drops free. We're going to test that right now. Magazine does drop free. Okay, so I'm going to double check to make sure it's unloaded. Pass it to you. I want your two thoughts. Be honest. How you rack it, how you normally rack it. Yeah, just do it as normal.
It's still tough for me.
Yep, you bring it up a little bit. You can stand up if you have to.
There we go. Yeah, it's still tough for me.
That's fine.
Mainly because of the width of it. I don't have the mobility that I had 20 years ago in my hands.
Oh, we're going to get to the width in a minute. I talk about that too.
But it.
Okay.
No problem there. No problem there. Little problem with the slide release.
Okay. Not a problem. I'll take that back. Make sure it's unloaded. It is unloaded. So we're going to simulate wet hands. I know. Basically, it's a wet washcloth with water. This is just going to simulate rain, possibly blood. I know blood is a little thicker than water. Haha. Moist hands, sweaty hands.
Slippery.
Middle of the night. Yeah, that's all. You can put it, they are wet. And the grip is still pretty good. The magazine drops. It's still unloaded. But now it's really hard. I'm still struggling to pull it back. I'll say even with the push-pull method I'm going to talk about in a minute, it's still difficult with wet hands. Very. So I'm going to put this back, get my towel, dry it off. So, and again, we've shot this gun. It's a great gun to shoot. I think I have some footage. If I do, I'll put it up so you can watch while I'm drying it off. Make sure it is unloaded. I'm going to hand that to Dad. Oh, no, you get wet hands too.
Okay.
I said, because you are literally my target. You're my viewer. 50, 60, 70, 80-year-old people.
Okay.
Let me bring the camera down a little bit just so you can. There we go.
Yeah, just to drop the slide.
Two hands.
That's
fine.
And
it's hard. Wet.
I can't.
Hard.
It's even with that 14-pound spring in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Are you familiar with the push-pull method of racking? You
Yeah,
pull back while you push forward at the same time. It's still difficult.
Yeah, I can't.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll make sure. Here's a towel.
Thank you.
Okay, it is unloaded. Put that back. Raise my camera up a little bit. Okay, we're going to talk about the push-pull method. It uses your entire upper body instead of your fingers. Check to make sure the gun's unloaded. You bring the gun close to your body. Establish a full hand grip. The slide, not in a pinch. Your whole hand, palm, fingers, and everything. And what you're doing is you're pushing the frame forward and slide back. So it's push-pull. You're using your chest, your shoulders, and your back muscles. Oh, slide stop. They function under stress. They work with arthritis. With the gun dry, it works. I can do it. With it wet, and I'm 56. I just turned 56. Yay! Just 50. It's still difficult with wet hands. This is a very narrow gun. Now, clearing malfunctions, the old tap, rack, shoot. That's the standard malfunction drill. You tap the magazine to ensure it's seated, rack the slide back to clear the jam, assess your target, and if necessary, fire. But if you can't rack the slide reliably, you can't clear malfunctions. Your gun becomes a single-shot pistol. Then it becomes a rock or a thrown object, which I don't recommend. If you don't mind my asking, be honest, why did you buy the Bodyguard? Was it the caliber? I know you love Smith & Wesson.
It was the caliber, and it was Smith & Wesson, and I thought it would be one I would, really be able to use without too much problem. But I kind of went on the hype.
That's fine. That's why we're talking about this. We're being real. But yeah, you thought it would be easier to use. You believe the marketing, and I'm not bagging on you. I'm bagging on Smith & Wesson's marketing. I have another video on that and gun marketing in general. But Smith & Wesson designed this for people who struggle with traditional slides. You wanted something that fit your aging body, but under realistic conditions, the problem isn't the gun. It's your you have grip problems, and that needs to be addressed. Yeah. In fact, nobody taught you how to adapt to your physical limitations. not so much you, but the audience. You might feel weak or you might feel old. You feel like you're failing your family because you can't even rack the slide consistently because it's like, stiff. That's not your fault. It's the industry's fault. They sell you on compact guns, lighter springs, and aggressive serrations, but they don't teach you how to actually use them when your body doesn't cooperate. And they certainly don't tell you that even with a 14-pound spring that we had to buy aftermarket, you still might struggle if you have large hands or arthritis. Here's the spiritual weight of the problem. As a protector, your job is to keep your family safe. If you can't operate your defensive tool reliably, you're not protecting anybody. You're gambling. I got news for you. Hoping that when the moment comes, your hands will work and your technique will hold up. That is not stewardship. That's wishful thinking. Now, Dad knows this. He does carry the Bodyguard once in a while, but he just picked up a new CSX. Yes, we're going to test that. But he knows his limitations. He does practice with it, and he's honest about the days when his hands hurt too much to trust it. He'll go with another gun. This is what separates a pretender from somebody like Dad who's a protector. Now, slide assist devices and gun swapping can be part of the solution, but they're often used as a band-aid to avoid addressing the root problem. Bad technique combined with not honestly assessing whether a gun fits your capabilities. Now, the real issue is people in general. They typically will buy a gun based on marketing or what works for somebody else. Now, we have a 5-point test you can use before you buy your next gun. It'll be right there. People struggle to operate it with poor technique, like the old lawnmower method. Buying gadgets or switching guns, hoping that fixes it. Now, in your case, it did work. You need to honestly assess whether your body can handle the gun at all. Now, I'm going to give you 4 options you can fix your technique. First, you can try the push-pull method. Use the shoulders, the arms, body, back. This costs nothing and works for most people. You can modify the gun, lighter recoil springs like Dad did, aftermarket slide serrations. Change the gun. That's what, again, some guns are genuinely easier. The Shield EZ, LCP Max. Switching technique means you might struggle with the new gun too. Now, you can also use stuff like assistive devices, slide racking tools, chamber-loaded indicators. These work, but they can be lost. Now, if you think buying slide assist devices or just switching to an easier gun solves the problem without changing anything else, you're missing the point. Dad did switch to a lighter spring and it helped, but he also had to learn proper technique. He can rack it, he can use it, but with wet fingers, not going to happen. He had to honestly assess his limitation. The problem isn't gadgets or gear, it's people buying guns they can't operate and then hoping accessories will fix the problem. Now, do you believe, and to be honest, if this jams, reloads, misfires, can you clear it? Are you confident that you can do it? Be honest.
I'm not sure.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm
that's fine. And there's training.
Sure.
I know you train with this, but he reached a point where he doesn't have a slide racker tool, but he made adaptations. We were at the gun show looking for a new gun because this isn't it. The EZ works very, very well. The push-pull technique works because it uses your whole hand, not just the fingertips. But you also got the CSX, and again, that works very nice. Yep. We're going to shoot that here shortly. But for now, technique solves most racking problems, not gadgets, not stronger grips, technique. But even then, it may not work, and you do have to upgrade. Here's what I'd like you to do tomorrow morning. Take your unloaded Bodyguard 2.0, verify it's unloaded, taking the magazine. This one is. Then practice the push-pull technique 10 times. You can do it wet hands, dry hands, or both. Feel the difference in how much easier it is compared to the lawnmower method. Then wet your hands and try it again. Not dripping wet, just damp. See how your grip changes. Adjust your hand position to find what works, if it works. If you feel sharp pain, stop. Your goal is to build a reliable technique, not prove how tough you are. And if you're still struggling after practicing proper technique, then you should have a different conversation about whether this gun fits your physical needs and capabilities. There is only shame in lying to yourself about what you can do under stress. Your family doesn't need you to be a hero. They need you to be honest about what you can and cannot do as a protector. You cannot rack your slide reliability. If you can't rack your slide reliably when your hands are wet and shaking, you have hope. That's not a defensive plan. Hope is not a defensive plan or a strategy. So here are 3 questions you need to honestly answer to yourself or in the comments. Can you rack your carry gun 10 times in a row with wet hands without pain or failure? Can you load, unload, or lock the slide open and clear a malfunction under time pressure without fumbling? Now, 3, if you answered no, what are you going to do this week to fix that problem? In the next video, we're going to go a little deeper into the push-pull technique and arthritis and hand pain for older shooters. Stop racking your slide like a lawnmower, and if this Smith & Wesson 380 review helped you see gaps in your gear, the next one will help you fix those gaps. And if you want to start fixing it right now, I've got an aging hand protocol you can get for free in the download. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.